everyone and welcome to this YouTube. In this video we will tell you what is the main purpose of this project, how long is the proposed sea bridge and where would it be located, what are the estimated costs for the project and who is funding it, how will the construction and operation of the sea bridge impact the environment and surrounding communities, how will the sea bridge compare to other mega projects like the Panama Canal or the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, what are the projected timeline for the completion of the sea bridge, and when will construction begin, what challenges do the project developers expect to face during the planning and construction phases, what is the expected impact of the sea bridge on the global economy and international relations. The China-US $7.2 billion sea bridge mega project is a proposed infrastructure project that aims to connect the United States and China via a series of bridges and tunnels spanning the Pacific Ocean. The project, if completed, would be one of the largest and most ambitious infrastructure projects in history, with an estimated cost of over $7 billion. The project has been met with both excitement and skepticism, as many experts question its feasibility and potential impact on the global economy. The idea of building a bridge across the Pacific Ocean has been discussed for decades, but it wasn't until recently that the technology and resources became available to make such a project a reality. The China-US Sea Bridge mega project was first proposed by a group of Chinese and American engineers in 2015, who believed that the project would not only connect the two countries physically, but also strengthen economic and political ties between them. The feasibility of the China-US Sea Bridge mega project is a contentious issue. Critics argue that the project would be incredibly costly and would require the use of new and untested technologies. They also point out that the Pacific Ocean is known for its rough waters and strong typhoons, which could damage or destroy the bridge. Supporters, on the other hand, argue that the project is technically feasible and that the benefits of the project would far outweigh the costs. They also point out that the project would create jobs and stimulate economic growth in both China and the United States. The China-US $7.2 billion sea bridge mega project is a highly ambitious and complex undertaking that would connect the two largest economies in the world with a massive bridge spanning the Pacific Ocean. The bridge would be the longest in the world, surpassing the current record holder, the Danyang-Kunshan Grand Bridge in China, which is 102.4 kilometers long. The project would require the cooperation and coordination of multiple governments, engineering firms, and construction companies. The estimated cost of the project is $7.2 billion, making it one of the most expensive infrastructure projects in history. Despite the enormous cost and complexity of the project, there are several factors that make it feasible. The first is the increasing economic and trade ties between China and the United States. The bridge would provide a direct and efficient transportation link between the two countries, reducing shipping times and costs. Another factor is the technological advancements in bridge and tunnel construction. Recent developments in materials and construction techniques have made it possible to build longer and stronger bridges and tunnels, making it possible to span the vast distance between China and the United States. Lastly, there is a growing demand for sustainable and environmentally friendly transportation options. The bridge would greatly reduce the need for shipping and air travel, resulting in a significant reduction in carbon emissions. The China-US Sea Bridge mega project would consist of a series of bridges and tunnels spanning the Pacific Ocean. The main bridge would be over 12,000 meters long and would connect the coast of California to the coast of China. The bridge would be supported by a series of towers and would be designed to withstand the strong winds and waves of the Pacific Ocean. The project would also include a tunnel that would connect the bridge to the mainland of the United States. The construction of the China-US Sea Bridge mega project would be a massive undertaking that would require the cooperation of multiple countries and companies. The project would be financed by a combination of private investment and government funding. The construction would be expected to take around 15 years and would require the work of thousands of engineers and construction workers. The China-US $7.2 billion sea bridge mega project is one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects in recent history. Spanning across the Pacific Ocean, this bridge will connect the two nations in a way that has never been done before. The design of the bridge is truly groundbreaking. It will be a combination of a suspension bridge, a cable-stayed bridge, and a floating bridge. The suspension bridge will span the majority of the distance, while the cable-stayed bridge will be used to connect the suspension bridge to the floating bridge. The floating bridge will be used to navigate through the rougher waters of the Pacific Ocean. The construction of the bridge will be no easy feat. It will require the expertise of engineers and construction workers from both China and the US. The project will be broken down into several phases, with the first phase focusing on the design and planning of the bridge. Once the design and planning phase is complete, the construction phase will begin. This phase will involve the building of the bridge's foundation, which will be a combination of pilings and floating pontoons. The next step will be the construction of the suspension bridge, which will be done using a combination of steel and concrete. The cable-stayed bridge and floating bridge will be built simultaneously, with the cable-stayed bridge being used to connect the suspension bridge to the floating bridge. The floating bridge will be built using a combination of steel and concrete and will be designed to withstand the rough waters of the Pacific Ocean. The construction of the China-US $7.2 billion Sea Bridge mega project is expected to take several years, but when it is completed, it will be a true engineering marvel and will connect the two nations in a way that has never been done before. It will open up new opportunities for trade, tourism, and cultural exchange between China and the US. The project will also create jobs and stimulate economic growth in both nations. The economic impact of the China-US Sea Bridge mega project would be significant. The project would create jobs and stimulate economic growth in both China and the United States. It would also improve trade relations between the two countries and could serve as a catalyst for further economic integration. Additionally, the bridge would reduce transportation costs and travel time between the two countries, making it easier for businesses to operate across the Pacific. However, there are also concerns that the project could have negative economic consequences. Some experts argue that the project would divert resources away from other important infrastructure projects and could increase the national debt in both countries. Additionally, the project could lead to increased competition between the two countries and could exacerbate economic tensions. The China-US $7.2 billion Sea Bridge mega project has the potential to bring significant economic benefits to both nations. This ambitious project, which would connect China and the United States via a massive sea bridge, would create jobs, stimulate economic growth, and open up new trade and investment opportunities. One of the main benefits of the project would be the creation of jobs in the construction, engineering, and transportation sectors. The massive scale of the project would require thousands of workers, both in China and the United States, to design and build the bridge. This would provide a much-needed boost to the economies of both nations, as well as providing employment opportunities for skilled workers. In addition to creating jobs, the Sea Bridge would also open up new trade and investment opportunities between China and the United States. The bridge would allow for faster and more efficient transportation of goods between the two nations, which would help to boost economic growth and increase trade between the two nations. This would be particularly beneficial for small and medium-sized businesses, which would now have access to new markets and customers. Overall, the China-US $7.2 billion Sea Bridge mega project has the potential to bring significant economic benefits to both nations. It would create jobs, stimulate economic growth, and open up new trade and investment opportunities. As such, it is an ambitious and exciting project that should be given serious consideration by both governments. The environmental impact of the China-US Sea Bridge mega project would be complex and would depend on the specific design and construction methods used. Supporters argue that the bridge would reduce the need for shipping and air travel, which would have a positive impact on the environment. However, critics point out that the construction of the bridge would require the use of large amounts of concrete and steel, which could have a negative impact on the environment. Additionally, the bridge could have an impact on marine life, particularly if the construction process disrupts local